We need to be able to look deeply at these things I've talked about. Because if we don't do it, we don't get anything done. We don't achieve anything in the end. We just keep going back and forth in circles. Probably President Buhari's body will be brought in today for burial in tandem with Islamic rites. Also, in the course of last week, we lost the Olubadan, and Ladoja is delaying his return till Olukolein's mourning ends. And a lot of tributes have been paid to President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari, that passed. In fact, he has told the Vice President Shetima and Gwajabiya Miller to proceed to the UK to go get his body back home. While we're talking about that, insecurity still raises its ugly head. Gunmen kidnapped Chief Imam in Edo State and demanding 30 million ransom. A pastor remanded over a rape of housewife in Edo State, and that's the society we live in. Passengers are unhurt. Yesterday again, we had another incident. Airpiece veered off the runway in Port Harcourt Airport. We thank God for safety, but our airline sector needs a lot of attention. And let us do what is right for a lot of challenges here and there. The Senate is now responding by saying that courts didn't order us to restate Oduaga. There's no binding court order mandating immediate recall of the Senator Oduaga. The Legislative Chamber said it thoroughly reviewed the judgment delivered by Binta Ayako and discovered that it did not issue any explicit directive. You see, Nigeria is now so funny that when a court is supposed to issue an exclusive directive, a court leaves it open-ended. I read that judgment too by Binta Ayako. How will a judge not be able to convincingly say, recall this woman if you call the suspension excessive? Then in her judgment, she said, I will advise, in my opinion. When did a judge start writing all of that? But she was so quick to impose a 5 million naira fine in the case of the contempt. So please, anyway, she needs to approve it. She needs to appeal it and take it to a higher court. We need to be able to see this interpretation. And we need to get to a time where judgments are written. And we are definitive about them. And Chelsea did surprise everybody yesterday to win the first merged edition of the FIFA Club World Cup in America, where they beat Paris Saint-Germain, a sparkling team, I should say, 3-0. It's a very good one for Chelsea. Congratulations to them. And factional leader Julius Abure is meeting with FCT minister amid ongoing tensions in the Labour Party. Isn't it shocking that the same Abure that was an unknown entity before Peter Obi came to Labour Party, all of a sudden had a rub-off of the success of that Peter Obi brought to the Labour Party. And today he's now fighting the same man that made them popular. The question we should ask is, what was the Labour Party before Peter Obi joined them? All of a sudden, the Labour Party is now acting and flexing its muscle. Aburetu is having a faction. You can see how life operates.
Thank you so much, Rufai Oseni, for those reactions. And of course, as I said, virtually all through all major national dailies, the front page paying tribute to former president or late president Muhammadu Buhari. Well, according to the reports from Sahara Reporters, President Muhammadu Buhari died of leukemia. According to President Bola Tinubu on Sunday evening, announced that former president and late president Muhammadu Buhari died at about 4:30 p.m. in London, the United Kingdom, following a prolonged illness. Now, according to a statement issued by the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, Tinubu has since spoken with the former First Lady, Aisha Buhari, to express his condolence over the loss. In response to the development, the president directed Vice President Kashim Shettima to travel to the UK immediately to accompany Buhari's body back to Nigeria. As a mark of respect for the late former president, President Tinubu has ordered all national flags to be flown at half-mast. Meanwhile, sources privy to Buhari's health condition told Sahara Reporters that the former president died of leukemia, a type of cancer that affects the blood and bone marrow, the spongy tissue inside bones where blood cells are produced. And Muhammadu Buhari, who served as Nigeria's head of state from January 1984 to August 1985, returned to power in a democratic capacity after winning the presidential elections in 2015 and securing re-election in 2019. Further details regarding funeral arrangements are expected to be announced in due course. But early on Sunday, the former president's aide, Garba Shehu, announced the passing of his principal, saying the former leader died in London. Shehu previously confirmed that the ex-Nigerian leader was ill and receiving treatment in the United Kingdom. On Saturday, Sahara Reporters reported that Buhari and a former Nigerian head of state, Abdulsalami Abubakar, were still hospitalized and in life-threatening critical conditions in London. It was learned further from a presidency source that the two former leaders are dying and dealing with undisclosed illnesses also worsened by old age. On Friday, President Bola Tinubu recently dispatched Vice President Shettima to visit the ailing leaders and seek to support their treatment. Buhari, who led Africa's most populous country from 2015 to 2023 as a democratic leader, had been in the UK for months. Buhari expressed regret over his inability to attend the 50th anniversary celebration of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, held in Lagos on May 28. In a statement, he explained that medical assignments in the UK required his attention. And during the 8 years tenure as Nigeria's president, Buhari became widely known for his frequent foreign medical trips, particularly to the United Kingdom. These trips, often shrouded in secrecy, sparked national debate and criticism, and especially given Buhari's earlier campaign promise to end medical tourism and improve Nigeria's healthcare system. Buhari's first known medical trip occurred in February 2016, less than a year into his presidency. Officially described as a short vacation, it was later revealed that he had also sought medical attention during his stay in London. Just a few months later, in June 2016, he returned to the UK for treatment of an ear infection. This trip drew criticism from the Nigerian Medical Association, which pointed out that Nigeria had qualified specialists capable of handling such a condition. The most significant and controversial of Buhari's medical absence began in January of 2017 when he left Nigeria for what was described as a medical vacation. He remained in London for 50 days, returning in March. Barely 2 months later, in May 2017, he departed again, fueling speculations and concern about the president's capacity to govern during this period. Then Vice President Yemi Osinbajo served as acting president. In 2018, Buhari made another brief medical trip to London in May, reportedly for a follow-up consultation after a relatively quiet period. He resumed his medical visit in 2021, traveling to the UK in March for a routine checkup. This trip coincided with a strike by Nigerian doctors, highlighting the irony of the president seeking care abroad while the domestic healthcare system was in crisis. He returned to London again in June and July of that year for further treatment. In 2022, Buhari made at least 2 more medical trips to the UK, one in March and another in October. These visits were described as routine medical checkups. His final known medical trip as president occurred in May 2023, shortly after attending the coronation of King Charles III. He reportedly extended his stay in London to undergo a dental procedure. In total, Buhari is believed to have spent over 230 days abroad for medical reasons during his presidency. The financial cost of these trips, particularly the operation and maintenance of the private presidential jet, was estimated by some media outlets to range between 1.1 billion to about 5.4 billion naira. Now, these figures do not include the cost of medical care, accommodation, or the accompanying delegation. The president's reliance on foreign health care drew sharp criticism from civil society groups, medical professionals, and political opponents. Many viewed it as betrayal of his campaign promises and a stark symbol of the government's neglect of Nigeria's healthcare infrastructure. So, those are some of the facts during late President Buhari's tenure, and the fact the amount possibly expended on his medical tourism during that period. Of course, tributes have continued to pour in. The family of the former president has received sackload of messages. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf expressed profound shock and sadness over the death of the former president Muhammadu Buhari, describing him as a towering figure whose life embodied discipline, integrity, and unwavering love for Nigeria. In a condolence message, Governor Yusuf paid glowing tribute to the late president's life of service, noting that both as a military ruler and as a democratically elected leader, Buhari dedicated himself to the unity, stability, and progress of the nation. Founder of the New Nigeria's Party, Dr. Amil Boniface Okechukwu, also has sent tribute to the late president's family after the passing of late former President Muhammadu Buhari. He said, and I quote, "He died a fulfilled man as an elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He has done his best for Nigeria. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Amen." And of course, mixed reactions have also followed the passing of the late former president, as Kano children danced in rain, chanted controversial songs over Buhari's passing. There had been a perceived great joy amongst children in Kano State following the announcement of the former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, who was confirmed dead yesterday, Sunday, July 13th. A video surfaced online showing a group of children in Kano dancing joyfully in the rain while singing songs that many viewed have described as controversial and politically charged. In the short clip, the children, soaked from head to toe, can be seen clapping and moving rhythmically while chanting phrases in Hausa that appear to refer to former President Muhammadu Buhari. The content of the chant has sparked a wave of reactions across social media, ranging from amusement to deep concern. Now, some people believe the children's behavior reflects growing frustration among citizens, even at a young age, over past political leadership. Others, however, have criticized the video, arguing that such expressions are inappropriate for children and may be a reflection of what they hear from adults around them. The video continues to trend on various platforms, fueling ongoing conversations about politics, parenting, and social influence on Nigerian youth. We'll take a quick breather, and when we return, we still will be paying tribute and looking at the life and time of late former President Muhammadu Buhari on the arena. Do stay with us on 96.1 FM, the voice of the people. Thanks for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, well, this is 96.1 FM, the voice of the people, and it is the arena, a special edition as we pay tribute to late former President Muhammadu Buhari. Before we went on that break, of course, we shared with you the varied reactions that have followed the news of his passing. Most importantly, we hear that his body will be laid to rest today in his hometown of Daura in Katsina State. But still looking at reactions that are trending on social media this morning, especially after news broke of his passing. We hear that Mazi Kanuta Kanu, younger brother of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, says, and I quote, the cabals and the British government have played their last joker on a hopeless country called Nigeria. End of quote. Kanuata made this assertion while reacting to the announcement of the death of former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. He posted this on his official X handle as he recalled that Buhari reportedly died in the year 2018. It would be recalled that in 2017, to be exact, the former president spent 5 months in Britain where he was being treated for an undisclosed illness. Now, during his illness, IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu claimed that Buhari was cloned with an impostor with the name Jubril from Sudan. Now, upon his return in 2018, the late former president, I beg your pardon, insisted that he was not dead, stressing that he was not the alleged Jubril of Sudan. Now, Buhari's former spokesman, Garba Shehu, disclosed the former president's death on Sunday. Shehu said Buhari died in a clinic in London on Sunday where he was treating an undisclosed ailment. Reacting, Kanuta posted on his X handle, General Muhammadu Buhari is dead for the second time. Finally, the cabals and the British government have played their last joker on a hopeless country called Nigeria. Now, let me take you back to 2017-2019 when that conversation broke out where the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, had an exclusive chat with journalist and media mogul Dele Muhammadu online, and raised suspicion about the president's that time illness, and the fact that controversially the suggestion that President Muhammadu Buhari had died in 2018, and that we had an imposter, a lookalike of Mr. President, and there was so much talk about the cabal in the presidency at the time. Let's take a listen once again as we walk down memory lane.
Buhari is dead and buried in a shallow grave in Saudi Arabia. Aisha Buhari was there. She came back from what they called a lesser Hajj. She was wearing black. She was mourning. If you look at the pictures that were circulated at that point in time, you will see the smug, or should I say, the forlorn faces of northern governors. A minute silence was held at the AU for a late Buhari. Even Her Britannic Majesty Queen Elizabeth II also penned a condolence message to the people of Nigeria before the cabal took over and asked her to rescind it, which she did. Buhari is dead, and I'm prepared to stake Biafra on it. If you, Dele Muhammadu, can go and prove to me, I'm not asking you to do anything too complex. If you can go and ask this man you call Buhari, whoever it is in Asorok, to come outside, don't do very much, address a panel of Nigerian youths, maybe 20 of them, and speak Buhari's mother tongue, which is Fulfude. I will give up Biafra. I will apologize to him, and I will submit myself to any authority on this earth to do with me as they please. There is no Buhari. Jubril was there. Jubril followed Abakari to Cuba and ran away from there and never came back. The man you have now in Asorok is from Niger Republic. His name is Yusuf Abubakar Muhammad. That's his name. Yusuf Abubakar Muhammad. Even Shekau knows who he is personally and was mentioning his name as well. It is not the old Buhari that you and I know. The country cannot be burning and he will restrict himself to only 12 minutes of edited broadcast. Impossible. Impossible. Anybody that knows Buhari, even if he's dying, he must speak, because he thought in his own understanding to keep Nigeria one.
There you heard it. There you heard it. The voice of the leader of the independent people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, insisting that late President Muhammadu Buhari died in 2018. And of course, a lot of controversies had emanated as, as a result of that conversation or that revelation, as it were, at that time. But looking at latest developments as we speak, we hear that Nigerians are mourning the passing of the former president, a towering figure in the nation's political landscape, who died in London yesterday at the age of 82. Now, known for his stern demeanor, Spartan lifestyle, and unwavering anti-corruption stance, late President Buhari journeyed from a military ruler in the 1980s to a democratic elected president decades later in a rare act of redemption in Nigerian politics. Now, his death marks the end of an era, one defined by discipline, controversy, and the enduring debate over legacy. Now, from the barracks to the ballot box, Buhari remained a symbol of authority, admired by some, criticized by others, but never ignored. Tributes are pouring in from across the globe, reflecting a life that stirred strong emotions and left an indelible mark on the nation's soul. Weeks ago, he left the country in a private jet provided by a world-acclaimed billionaire for a routine checkup. His situation appeared to improve as he went sightseeing at some point. The former president's situation, however, took a turn for the worse as he was moved to an intensive care unit, ICU. President Bola Tinubu got wind of the situation and dispatched Vice President Kashim Shettima. The Vice President saw Buhari before he was discharged and taken to a care home to recuperate. A hint about the seriousness of Buhari's illness came from his spokesman, Garba Shehu, at his book presentation on Wednesday. He had urged Nigerians to pray for his principal. It was the lot of the same Shehu yesterday to confirm Buhari's death. And in a tense statement, he confirmed the dreaded news and announcing Buhari's passing. President Tinubu stated in a statement he personally signed, and I quote, "It is with profound sorrow and a heavy heart that I received the news of the passing of His Excellency, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, GCFR, my predecessor, who departed this life today, Sunday, July 13, 2025, at a hospital in the United Kingdom." President Buhari was, to the very core, a patriot, a soldier, a statesman. His legacy of service and sacrifice endures. He served Nigeria with unwavering dedication, first as a military leader from January 1984 to August 1985, and later as a democratically elected president from 2015 to 2023. Duty, honor, and a deep commitment to the unity and progress of our nation defined his life. He stood firm through the most turbulent times, leading with quiet strength, profound integrity, and unshakable belief in Nigeria's potential. He championed discipline in public service, confronted corruption head-on, and placed the country above personal interests at every turn. In this moment of national mourning, I extend my deepest condolences to his beloved wife, Aisha, with whom I have been in constant touch, his children, the entire Buhari family, and all who knew and loved him. I also extend my condolences to the government and people of Katsina State, most especially the people and traditional leaders of Daura Emirate. We honor his service, we reflect on his legacy, and we pray for the peaceful resolve of his soul. As a mark of respect to our former leader, I have directed that all national flags fly at half mast across the country for 7 days from today. I have also summoned an emergency Federal Executive Council session on Tuesday dedicated to his honor. The federal government will accord President Buhari full state honors befitting his towering contributions to our country. May Allah forgive his shortcomings and grant him Al-Jama Fildaus. And may his life continue to inspire generations of Nigerians to serve with courage, conviction, and selflessness. End of quote. The body of the former president is to be buried in Daura, Katsina State, his hometown, today. A full military honor is also to be given to him as a former two-time commander-in-chief of the armed forces, first as a military head of state and as a civilian president. His death sent shock waves across the country. It set social media abuzz. Major television networks and radio stations interrupted their regular programming to focus on documentaries on the former leader. So, we here on 96.1 also pay tribute to the former late President Muhammadu Buhari. And a roll call of Nigerian past heads of states are expected to converge in Daura today as the remains of the former President Muhammadu Buhari is laid to rest in keeping with Islamic traditions. Now, this is as Vice President Kashim Shettima, directed by the President Bola Tinubu, accompanied Buhari's remains from London, where he died at around 4:30 p.m. Sunday. Presidency officials who spoke to the media Sunday night confirmed that the former president's remains would arrive the country early Monday to be flown to his hometown of Daura, Katsina State, for burial. On whether other African heads of states are expected to arrive Nigeria for condolence visit, some officials from the presidency were revealed to have said that there would be mainly West African leaders, but it's not clear who and who until the start of communication this morning, Monday. So we have our ears to the ground and our searchlight beamed on developments in Daura. And trust us, as always, right here on 96.1 FM, the voice of the people, to keep you up to speed with developments as the day progresses. President Tinubu, as I said earlier, has ordered flags to fly at half-staff or as a mark of respect for the departed leader. The president also summoned an emergency session of the Federal Executive Council scheduled for Tuesday, July 15, 2025, in honor of the late former leader. In a heartfelt tribute he personally signed Sunday evening, the president confirmed that Buhari would be accorded full state honors. So the president also described Buhari as a man who stood firm through the most turbulent times, leading with quiet strength and profound integrity and unshaken belief in Nigeria's potential. He praised Buhari's effort in confronting corruption and instilling discipline in the public service. Buhari's health required extended medical leave during his two-term as president. During his tenure, he made at least 13 medical trips to the United Kingdom, and it gulped quite a huge sum of money. Well, former President Olusegun Obasanjo described the late former president as a statesman, a colleague, a reputable soldier, and a compatriot who will be sorely missed. Chief Obasanjo, who led Nigeria as a military head of state in 1976 and democratically elected president from 1999 to 2007, described as unfortunate that the Katsina-born leader passed when his experience is urgently needed to prefer solutions to a myriad of challenges facing the country. The former president disclosed this while speaking to journalists on Sunday. And also, Ibrahim Babangida, retired, said he was saddened with the sudden demise of Buhari. In an emotional-laden tribute, he said, and I quote, "It is a deeply heavy heart that I received the news of the passing of my friend, my brother, my classmate, and a fellow soldier in the 1962 when we both joined the Nigerian Military Training College in Kaduna. From those early days, Muhammadu stood out, quiet yet resolute, principled yet humble, deeply patriotic and fiercely loyal to Nigeria. Through the years, we shared trenches and trials, dreams and disappointments, victories and moments of reflection. Our bond was forged not only by military training, but by a shared commitment to the ideals of service, discipline, and love for country." Former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also mourned the death of the ex-president, describing him as a true patriot whose life exemplified discipline, integrity, and service to the nation. In a personal tribute he signed on Sunday, Osinbajo said he and his wife, Dolakbo, were deeply saddened by the news of Buhari's passing in a London hospital earlier in the day. He wrote, and I quote, "Dolakbo and I received with profound sadness the news of the passing of His Excellency, former President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, this afternoon. In the moments that followed, we spoke with Her Excellency Aisha Buhari and their son, Yusuf Buhari, to express our heartfelt condolences and to share in the deep grief of their beloved family, one with whom we had the honor of serving our nation for 8 memorable years." The former vice president described Buhari's life as one marked by an unwavering devotion to the Nigerian people. Nigeria has lost a true patriot, a man whose life was marked by unyielding devotion to the nation he loved. President Buhari's legacy will endure as a testament to the nobility of public service, defined by honesty, discipline, and unwavering commitment to the public good. End of quote. Osinbajo served as vice president under Buhari from 2015 to 2023. He prayed for the strength and comfort for the late president's family and for all who mourned him. Well, following the passing of former President Muhammadu Buhari in London, contrasting scenes emerged at his residence in Kaduna and Daura. And so, like I said, it is a solemn moment for us here on 96.1 FM, the voice of the people, as we also join the rest of the country and the world to pay tribute to the late President Muhammadu Buhari. Gradually, we have come to the end of today's edition of The Arena. We leave you with the words of late President Muhammadu Buhari. Keep it locked, as at the top of the hour, our Igbo show will come up, and of course at 12 noon, we'll bring you the national news. I am Nkamian John. To stay with us.
Whoever thought that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all humans. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they would pardon me. And those that think that I have hurt them so much, please pardon me. I thank